all to GameGuru MAX live broadcast number 41. Oh yes, just one more to go until we get live broadcast number 42. Exciting times. I'm probably really building up this broadcast 42 absolutely needlessly. So just want to do a quick check. Can everybody hear me speak? Gonna check my private chat window. And for those lucky enough to be joining us live, you can use the live chat to chat. And of course, ask your questions and I'm happy to answer them. Let's see if anyone can hear me. Thank you, Preben. Yes, everyone can hear me. Wonderful. Okay, usual drill, boys and girls. If you want to ask me some questions, I'm going to answer them towards the end of this broadcast. Just put a question mark at the end. The questions I can't get to because I literally talk myself out of time, I will actually post the answers on the GameGuru forum along with the recording of this broadcast. So what do I have to show you today? Well, a couple of things. Some in the software and last minute change of plan, showing you some lovely art that just came through. And so if you can all see my screen and I go here, you'll now be able to see 4 screenshots. This is our what I'm calling my third character. So you've seen a combat guy, you've seen a combat girl, and now you're going to see full tactical guy. So this is the sort of things you'll be able to create in our built-in character creator. And so you can swap arms and legs and heads and accessories and things like that. So more to come from that quarter. These won't be in. These are just teasers. This won't be in the Friday build. I'm still waiting on bits and pieces and exports, but it gives you an idea of what you'll be getting next Friday and what I'll be talking about, fingers crossed, I hope, in broadcast 42. Life, the universe, and everything for those that don't know, and why 42 is a really important number for us nerds. So, without further ado, I'm going to launch the software and get stuck into a couple of the things that I want to demonstrate today. Hopefully leave enough time for answering your lovely questions. So this is what you're going to see on Friday. There may be 1 or 2 more lines before Friday, but this is generally the crux of it. We're introducing a brand new object library system. We've done some bits and bobs and fixes and tweaks. One of the fixes is that the auto updater will now clean up its program files root folder. We've further improved the character creator's ability to export characters with all of its materials correct and intact. And we've added new graphics for all of the objects that are provided out of the box. We're calling it the asset collection. It's basically all the objects that we get in and license from third parties and prepare them, make sure they work right out of the box when you drop them into your level. And that is one of the things I'd like to show you right now. But before that, I want to show you the auto update really quick. So if I just go to check for updates, and you'll be able to see this when you click the verify button. And because it's the auto updater updating itself, you'll have to click it twice. But I'll just show you the error message. Sorry, not the error, the warning message that you're going to get. And I just want to explain what it is. This is the cleanup step. Up until this build, we didn't clean up the program files area. So every time a file was added that already existed, it would overwrite it. If it was added and the file didn't exist, it would add it to the root folder structure. But now we're actually rearranging the media that we're going to ship with the final product. We're now removing folders, we're removing assets, but those old assets would still be lying around in your program files area. And so what this step does, it deletes all of those old files, so it synchronizes the program files installation with the set of files we have on our server. The reason we've put a big warning up front is we want to make absolutely sure you've not stored your custom models, your imports, your things you've created or you've placed there inside the program files. If you have, back it up. Make sure we don't erase those files that you've placed there. You shouldn't really be placing any files in the program files. It's already write protected. So we're pretty sure most people won't have any files in there. We just want to give you the opportunity to back off, make sure that all your files are backed up before you click yes. And when you click yes, it will proceed as normal to update your software. So just wanted to mention that because you will be hit by that dialog box, and it'd be great if everybody knew what it was, and so they're not frightened of it. But this is the thing I really want to show, the new object library. So as you all know, you press the add button to add entities, but look what you get now. You actually get real time, dynamic, massive wide aspect thumbs instead of those tiny little 64 by 64 BMPs. In fact, in GameGuru MAX, there's no more BMPs. All the thumbnails are generated on the fly or pre-cached for stock art. And as you can see, you can look at those. If we went to this one, you can actually see previews of the animation. We've got a zombie guy. Obviously, if you've already hovered over it, it remembers it, so you can play them more quickly. Here's one like that. So I'll just give you an idea of how it works. So I can click on this one, drop it in to my level, just as you would any game object. And look what you get on the left. You get a lovely wide aspect thumbnail that was been generated from the object. So it looks much nicer. We can add another one. Let's say we can also change the scale. So we can scale out if you wanted to see more objects. So let's say we can add the sandbags like so. Now you see you've got your nice backdrop as well, and so on and so forth. And also what you can do, let's see if we can find, let's go back to the top. See this ammo? If I click here, it goes, so you got a full screen preview of the object. So not only do you get like a live thumbnail, but you can actually zoom in, you can move around, you can rotate it. And if you've actually got your own objects, let's say you've imported your own object, you can actually set this up. You can set up the pose, how far in and out it should be in the thumbnail. You can choose the backdrop, you can choose a cube map for it, and get it really nice in center shot, and then make that part of your final object if you're doing your own custom objects. So it's a pretty cool feature. It also lets you preview all of the settings. These are read-only, but you can see all the things that you might want to know about the object before you add it into your level. So really, as you might imagine, we've been working on this for quite a bit in the background, but we wanted to get it right before we actually released it as a Friday build. You're going to get this object library in 2 days' time, and please let us know what you think when you start using it, because we'd really like to find out if there's anything that we've missed. Here's some really nice weapons. We've put it on a nice spacey backdrop, so you can actually preview all the different weapons, which look quite good. If I say selected this, go full screen, you can actually see all of the but also as well, these weapons, you may recognize them, they're actually from GameGuru Classic. They came over quite nicely, but the reason we're still using them is that they're all set up with the animations. We're going to have some new weapons for GameGuru MAX which take better advantage of the new PBR rendering system. These models were created pre-PBR. Engine does a decent job of them, but with proper PBR weapons, it'll really just shine, and it'll look all the better for being rendered in this live thumbnail. So hopefully you like the look of that. Some other little bits and pieces I can show you around. You can filter, so you can choose whether to look at the objects in alphabetical order, sort by category, oldest or newest first. You've also got the drop down, so all the different categories, you can go straight to the folder within your object collection that you're interested in, so you can use it that way. You can also do searches, so I'll search for tree. It just shows me all the trees that you may want. If you've marked any favorites, so let's say I really like that one, and I go to favorites, it just shows the things that I favorited. So you can see you've got characters, scenery, elements. These are all filters as well, which let you sort of narrow down the bits that you're interested in. Let's say I just want to see characters, then it would only be characters. At the moment it's actually still showing the showcase stuff. What the showcase stuff is, we should go to names, so you can just see the characters. So we've got zombies, combat guys and combat girls, but the showcase are objects that we want to push up front and center, and we'll keep changing that showcase. So as we update the software down the road, and we've got some nice new objects to show you. We have a showcase section. So when you go in, you can say sort by showcase and see all the newest, latest, coolest objects that we keep adding to the product over time. So that's a little glimpse. There's other things I'd like to talk about, but I'll talk about them in more detail in future broadcasts, such as you now can access the character creator from here. If you think about it, you're browsing for objects, you're finding characters. If you can't find the character you want, isn't it this the correct place to then, well, I'll go and create my own characters? Similarly, let's say you want to go find objects from, not from within the software, but out in the real world. Well, we've now got Get More Objects. And here, you've got multiple stores that we're offering up. Obviously, got our own website, GameGuru MAX website, which will have DLCs. You'll be able to import any files that are on your computer, so you can use that. But we're also going to push the Sketchfab store, which is really great because it exports auto-generated GLTFs with textures of a predictable pattern, so we can get pretty much them in first time perfect. And of course, our beloved affiliation with the Game Creator Store, run by Jason, who will be helping populate these boxes with the latest and greatest models down the road. And of course, you can click these to actually go visit the websites as well. So that's the new object library. We hope you like it. Obviously, this is brand new out the gate on Friday, so we are expected to get some feedback, make a few tweaks, and continue to add models to this area. So this is just pretty much a prettied up version of the objects you already had. But from now on, we're going to start adding new objects, preparing them, testing them. So each week or every other week, you're going to start seeing new objects appear. And I think you'll like what we have in store because we've licensed quite a lot of art now. We just have to get it converted and into the builds. So now looking for question marks. I'm just checking the time. It's 13 minutes, not too badly. So I've got 2 minutes for official questions, probably 5 more minutes for unofficial questions. If we can finish the broadcast within 20 minutes, I think we'll have done very well. So I'm going to move over to, in fact, if I zoom this down, because I always find in the broadcast that if I just do that, and then we can move this one here. It just makes for a piteous screenshot in the YouTube recording. So scrolling to the top, looking for a question mark. Can I have a P, please, Bob? You certainly may have a P. Looking for the next question. Hopefully there's a good question down here. When is the final release date? Thanks very much for that question. It wouldn't be the same to have a broadcast without that particular question. The answer is it's an open release date. We have no fixed date, which is why we're actually keeping you well inundated with progress reports. So you can see that stuff is happening, but we don't have a date to give you right now. Super confident man 42 is the meaning of life. Okay, so here's a proper question. GameDev Toolmaker, is the API and functions for GameGuru MAX is the same as that of Classic? If you mean the underlying API, no. I'd say about 40% of it is from GameGuru Classic in order to create a sense of backwards forwards compatibility. But really, Max is sitting on a whole new graphics engine. We're replacing large chunks of other stuff. So it is slowly evolving into a very, very unique offering that we're calling GameGuru MAX. But it sits on a whole new graphics engine, which I think is one of the most important changes that we did from the old GameGuru Classic, which was sitting on the even older Basic Pro graphics engine. As to functions, I suppose you're referring to the Lua command set. Those will mostly be the same as in GameGuru Classic, but we'll be adding more commands to the Lua programming language so you can tap into the new features that GameGuru MAX will be offering. So hopefully that answers your question. Looking for another question. 2-word question. Controller support question mark. Yes, you will be able to use a game controller to control your game. What decade is this being released? Decades are counted in 10 years. So yeah, I would say this decade. That is my official answer. This decade. Looking for another question. Another one from GameDev Toolmaker. Will one have options to switch to classic render and Wicked Engine Render, or will the Wicked Engine Renderer completely? Only Wicked. Only Wicked. We're not supporting any of the rendering stuff from GameGuru Classic. For that, just go to GameGuru Classic. Wicked is a whole new rendering kettle of fish. Bouncy Sky 152 asks, cave systems question mark. There are no built-in cave making items in GameGuru Max. You can make a cave yourself, of course, by having some walls and a ceiling, and then raising some terrain, and then you descend into the cave. So you can certainly create a cave yourself, but there isn't a click one button to make caves. There is no such feature in the release version of GameGuru Max. Nice idea though. Will save files from classic GameGuru be importable into GameGuru Max? Mostly yes. The levels you've created can be imported into Max. A lot of the entities that you had in Classic you can manually copy over into Max, but it won't be 100% backwards compatible. There are some things we've completely changed, and other things we really didn't want to port over because of quality reasons. But yes, you will be able to move your project from Classic to Max. That was one of the things we wanted to deliver for the release. Is it me, or is Lee's screen cropped at the top? Please let me know if I am indeed cropped. I've just quickly glanced at my live feed on another screen. I don't look cropped. Please let me know if I'm delusional. Looking for another question. Is there an easy one-click way to import all my thousands of old GameGuru assets I got from the store? You could just manually copy them all into a folder, into a GameGuru Max Entity Bank folder, and then be able to access those objects. So that's how you could do it. But they wouldn't magically be transformed into Max super friendly objects. They would still be your legacy entities from Classic, and you're going to have to go through them with a tooth comb if you want to make them super maxed, if that's even a thing. Can you use GameGuru assets with Max? See previous Witter. So definitely yes. At least 90% yes. There's going to be some stuff that really throws the curveball. And you know, things like creating the old character creator in Classic, those characters won't move over to Max because we've completely overhauled and rewritten, in fact, the new character creator. We called it the Character Creator Plus. Looking for a question. Here's a new question from Henry Hanley. When is the actual final release date? I pre-ordered mine on the 2nd of April, but just says awaiting dispatch, just can't wait to use it. Lol, I chose download option rather than Steam key. It is currently an open release date. We don't have a date for you at this time. When we have a release date, we'll let absolutely everybody know, and anyone who's pre-ordered, you will definitely have a right to know. When we know, you will know as well. Martin Oliver asked a question. When will Classic map importing be improved on? Currently crashes almost all maps. Yeah, so I'll just make that point that these are development builds. These are builds that we put out, but we're still working on it. The product isn't finished. We won't be able to deliver that sort of 100% backwards smooth porting of your old levels into Max until we're pretty much far in and we've got all of the different elements up and running. So do expect, when you're bringing in old stuff into Max, that old stuff may crash. And it will have some weeks where it crashes less, other weeks where it crashes more. That's really just the nature of a dev build. But please do report those crashes in our issues board, because without those reports, we really wouldn't know about it until perhaps it's too late. So please do post them on the GitHub issues board. We do read it, we do assign them priorities and to individuals within the team, and it eventually will get fixed for everybody. Here's a question from Fearless Wee. Any plans to support streaming of model texture data from disk rather than load the entire level into memory at once? Would improve load times and performance on large detailed levels. We are doing that for terrain. So the geometry and the textures of the very large terrain are going to be streamed in for that very reason. We don't want to store it all at once. It is also true that objects are now increasingly using very large textures, and texture sets could have 4 or 5 textures per material within an object that might have multiple materials and then hundreds if not thousands of objects in your level. So streaming in that texture data seems very desirable, especially as the majority of your objects might be a mile away, and so you never actually need those textures. It's not on the dev plan, but I think through the optimization, the performance work we'll be doing, it might become imperative that we allow some system like that to basically use a thread or a number of threads to stream in the texture data at the level of quality that the renderer actually needs. So watch this space on that one. Just checking the clock. We have now broke through the 2-minute one and the 5-minute one. We're now going into overtime. So as is my custom, I'm going to pick the next 2 questions from people who haven't asked a question before. The rest, of course, I will get to in the forum later on. So who gets the lucky honor of the next question? Yes, Retro Game Blog, not asked a question yet. So when are we going to see waypoints for these new characters? Yeah, we removed the waypoints because we have a better system, but we haven't added that better system in yet. That is a ways down the road, as it's related to the AI and the new nav mesh stuff that we are going to be introducing, where you don't necessarily need to draw a specific path. You're going to allow characters more autonomy to find their way to particular locations. Certainly you could still draw out a path using lots of markers, but it's going to be a little bit more intelligent than it was with GameGuru Classic. So I would say watch this space for that. And Nigel Weatherbear, also a new question. So here we go. This is the last question of the day. Ground textures. Approximately what size in the world are they? We are sourcing 4K. All of the out-of-the-box textures that we've sourced already, they look awesome. They're all 4K textures and full PBR textures at that. So that's what we're using. But of course, you'll be able to specify your own textures for the terrain. And of course, that's just half the battle. It's then, of course, how far up are you standing from that terrain? What kind of quality you see? We want modern game standard terrain floor quality. So even though it's 4K, we're going to stretch that 4K up to the point where it looks great, but no further, where it starts to look blurry. And we're also going to experiment with something called displacement mapping, which would allow even a flat texture to adopt a sort of a 3D feel to it. But again, more on that when we start playing around with things like performance and whether you can use it everywhere or whether you only really want to use displacement mapping for little bits of your terrain here and there to keep the performance friendly. So again, that's another watch this space, but that's probably going to come sooner. In fact, I know it will come sooner than the AI and the waypoint stuff. But definitely great questions, and I'm looking forward to sharing what our plans are and what progress we've already made in the background in future broadcasts. So thanks for all your questions. I'm here every Wednesday at 4 p.m. GMT. Next Wednesday is broadcast number 42. I may have mentioned it. I'm also needing to mention that right now, as I've mentioned, it is a development build. We're in the development process. You're seeing weekly updates of what we're going on and doing. If you want to play with this build that you've seen today on Friday, you can become a pre-order user, and we're offering a 25% discount as a thank you for all those who pre-order and help us continue the development of GameGuru MAX. And as I said, once you're a pre-order user, you'll get builds every Friday. So hopefully you enjoyed this broadcast. I'm looking forward to presenting stuff next week, more graphics and more software goodies and coding goodness. So until then, I hope you enjoyed yourselves. I certainly did. And I shall say goodbye.